You're carrying me home tonight?
After a time, you'll get light. And after a time, I'll get strong.
This medical science you're talking about?
Better yet, stay there. Everybody will come from Mashiach and can greet you.
Amen.
Anyone?
בזכות דרבי מרים רבקה ציפור הקטע שלהם רפואה שלמה.
Amen. Amen.
What's your Rabbi's name?
Hallelujah, Basan Yanomi.
שתהיה ברפואה שלמה.
Amen.
Amen, amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen.
Chaim, chaim, chaim. One of the terrific stories that's told in the Rishimas, that Ebbe's mother kept a diary. A couple of years ago, they published. I was hoping they were giving them out in the shuls, and I didn't keep all of them. I thought for sure they're going to publish it afterwards in a book. The Viola were waiting a couple of years; it's still not published. I have no idea why. But one of the terrific stories she tells in her diaries.
Amen.
Who wrote the diary?
The Rebbe's mother wrote a diary. She tells us a story about her husband. A short time before he was arrested. It was very dark times for Jews in Russia. It was the middle of the night, and someone knocked on the door. She opens the door, it was a woman. She wants to speak to the rabbi. She enters, she tells it, I believe Yitzchak, the Rebbe's father, she said, I have a daughter and a son-in-law. They live not in Yekaterinoslav, and they're very high up in the Communist Party. But I want my daughter to get married with a chuppah kiddushin. They agreed, but they would only allow it to happen if you will be Masad the Kiddushin discreetly. They will be here soon. That's it. And she left.
And at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, she left. And exactly, she said, when they're coming, they showed up. The Rebbetzin immediately, she had a tiny apartment. They took away her house, they put goyim in her house, they gave them two rooms. So, but they had 2 rooms, so she put them in the other room, so they could hide there. And now the Rov and the Rebbetzin are planning out a chasana. So first they got a big shmata that there should be for a chuppah. And then the Rov sat down with the couple to get all the names and make sure the yichus and everything was good. He wrote a ksuva for the couple. Now he wants a minyan. Sheva brachas is supposed to say basora. Where do you get a minyan at midnight? Right? And this is the days of communism. There's a tight lid, anything that's going on. And he has to be 10 people he can trust. They said those days in Russia that when there was 3 people talking, 2 of them were spies. 2 out of 3 people were spies. It was just unbelievable. Where do you get? But the Rov went from apartment to apartment in Yekaterinoslav. He found 8 kosher Yidden, which he knew he can trust them. It's 2 missing. So he's the 9th, and where's the 10th? I guess that was also part of the mix, but they needed 1 more. And in that building, they had every building had 1 person that was in charge of the building. like you have today a super, but that super was a different job. It was not to fix the light bulbs and the leaks. It was to make sure to report to the authorities everything. Now in this apartment, they had one special guy to keep an eye on the rabbi, and they knew that was his job. That was his job, to keep an eye on the rabbi.
Who is coming, who is going.
Yeah, but for the Rabbi Yitzchak had Rachmanas in this couple, and they're sitting and they're waiting, and they're sent to Farbrengen. Goes up to the fellow's apartment, knocks on the door, says, "Could you please come to my apartment?" And he didn't tell him why he's calling him. When they came into the apartment, he says, "I'm asking a huge favor. You're the 10th for a minyan to be Masada Kiddush." The guy was already there. And Rabbi Yitzchak asked 4 people to hold the shmata, and the kala came, she was covered, and the chassan tried to, with his hat, to cover his face as much as he could. And more people, apparently, he was a person that was recognizable. And they did the entire chasana. They did the chuppah, and mazel tov, chassan kala immediately disappeared, and one by one, everyone disappeared. One person stayed. This super of the building, whose job was to keep an eye on the Rav. The Rebbetzin said he pulled out of his pocket his membership in the Communist Party, and he said, "Rebbe, this is garbage. I belong to you." This was the person that was in charge. I'm sure there were more people that had the job to look after the Rav of Yekateriноslav, but that was his job. And he was a member of the Communist Party.
When he lived in his building.
Yeah. And he was so taken by this Mesidas Nefesh. What happened?
Did he report it?
Yeah.
Nothing happened. How did he have changed?
But if the Rebbe's father didn't know that until after the fact, so how could he mitzaref to the minyan? Because like a communist who's an atheist,
So there's not.
I guess he thought that that this Yid will be Mahar Tshuva B'Libay. I guess he was right. This guy was Mahar Tshuva B'Libay. Hashloch El Yonah tonight is Wednesday. And what's Wednesday? The Gemara. If a child learns Gemara, the child knows it's Wednesday. There's a few things that are awesome about Wednesday. The child is learning Chumash. He knows that like Chazal say, that was the day that the Eibush put up the sun and the moon. And when he starts learning Mishnayos and Gemara, and he learns the first Mishnah in Maseches Ksubas, Shas Cotton, he knows also a very special. What's special about Wednesday? Besula Nisas B'Yoyim Revi.
the Shas Cotton.
Shas Cotton, you said? Yeah, the Ksubas is like called a difficult Masechta, and it has a little bit of everything. It's called the Shas Cotton. Our first Mishnah starts Psalm Mrs. B'Yom Revi. The Rebbe has a word and a Sicha from Chof. The two things are connected. That Yidden are compared to a Lavona. And it says in Kabbalah, Besula Nisas. L'yoim Horevi is Rosh Hashanah Lavona. Besula Nisas. L'yoim Horevi is Levona. Besula Nisas. L'yoim Horevi. Lavona. What's the connection? This is the Shalom Kodesh brings it from the Arizal. L'chayda, Besula Nisas B'Yom Revi is a good thing. It's a good thing. The Levona that happened B'Yom Revi is a bad thing. The Eibush said there'll be Shnei Ma'oris HaGadoil. Came the Levona and complained that the Eibush said L'chimati es atzmech. So it's a bad thing. But here the Arizal connects the two things. And he says that the Besula Nisas L'Yom Revi is Rosh Hashanah Levona. The Rebbe sagt here in a sentence that's the tikkun. A tikkun for the Lavona that happened by Yom Revi, that the Lavona complained, that Eibush said, L'chimati es atzmach Yisrael doimim Lavona, Yidna compared to the Lavona, so Yidna mitaken. The tikkun is when there's shalom bayis between a Yid and his wife, so B'meila, the Shechina Shruya, and B'chlal, any time there's a marriage in a Jewish family, so that's a gewaldike simcha, that's a yichud of Zov and Nukva. The B'meila, that's metakin, the original thing, and it's metakin, it's so strong that we say that V'hoya oira lavona karachama, And not only that, the oil lavona will be even stronger, because if you have a yerida and then that aliyah, the aliyah has to be even stronger. So there has to be even, that's why we say al pi chasidus, that la'asad lavoi, the kol kala is going to be even stronger than the kol chosen, because they'll see the mile and the lavona more than the chama even. So mela, that's the connection. Besula nisas le'amar vir rosh tovis lavona, because every simcha by Yidden, when there's a chasana, mela, it's matak in the first pagam. Kaponim, it's a Chashkoch Yochanan. Tonight is, and there's an interesting thing. The Rebbe points out that there is, the Alter Rebbe said, B'yom Revi nitlo moris with a tes, and B'yom Revi nitlo moris with a tof. What's up shot nitlo moris with a tes? It's a play of words. Nitlo moris, when you say Chazal Tzimim say Revi nitlo moris, you don't see if it's a tes or a tof. So according to tes, if it's nitlo moris, is notal. Because the Baal Shem Tov was installed b'Yom Revi. So the Alter Rebbe's eyes, Yom Revi was a very sad day because the Baal Shem Tov was nifter on that day. But Yom Revi, nitlo ha'ma'oris, the ma'or, the big ma'or in the world, the Baal Shem Tov was taken away by Yom Revi. Who? The Alter Rebbe? The Baal Shem?
37.
Well, it was 37.
Very young.
Well, no, not Kedekach. No, not that Kedekach. Might have been not that, but not Kedekach. Look in the Hayoim Yom. It has the day of the birth on the Stalkos. I don't know.
He did 36 to 37.
It wasn't that young. No. Nah, because he was 36 when he was Nazgala. No, he wasn't that young. Akaponim, the Alter Rebbe says, B'yoyim Revi Nitlu, ah? Older. It's around 70 years old. I don't know. Nitlu means it was taken away. Then the Alter Rebbe says, B'yoyim Revi Nitlu Moiris, V'loshim Tov, because the Alter Rebbe's Geula was also B'yom Revi. Even though he wrote B'yom Shlishi, he went out, but then he sat in the house of Masnagin, he was screaming it against the Baal Shem Tov, and then finally the Alter Rebbe went out free. B'yom Revi was that night already. It was Yom Revi. So B'yom Revi Nitlu Meloshin Tov, which was Toila, which is a positive thing. Not the negative. Nitlu with a tes is negative. Nitlu with a tov is positive. So the Rebbe says that the Rebbe says every stalkus of a tzaddik you have two opposites. The stalkus of a tzaddik, on the one hand, it's like the chitas of this week, which is Wednesday, which is that stalkus tzaddikim is like Serefes Beis Elokeinu. On the other hand, the Zoya says, and we say when we go to the oil, there's a beautiful Zoya we say from Parashat Achri Mois, that tzaddikim and misos and yatam and mechayoy, that they're present by the Talmidim even more, that they're poil Yeshua's bekerev audits. So Amela, on the day of Istalkos, is nitlu and nitlu. Both things happen at the same time. Amela, today there's a strong koyach for every yid to tap into the koyach. Rabbi Yitzchak was a Baal Mesidus Nefesh Mamash. He passed away after being tortured al Kiddush Hashem, and never being in Golus, which is Golus is a terrible thing. So Mamela, today there's a special koyach. So l'chaim, all of us should tap into this special koyach, and there's chus of Rabbi Yitzchak should be poil Yeshua's bekerev ha'oret to everyone sitting here. Teichim Beis Menachem Mendel v'teichim Kol Yisrael should have Yeshua's in everything that we need. L'chaim. The Rebbe used to koch on this day. That before I start, there's a Chabad word that mirrors a word from the Bnei Yisrael. Mamash is a word, just a different day on the calendar. No, he says the same word, but 5 days apart of the Chabad word. But it's the same word. Mordike word. There's Bnei Yisrael. What's so special about Chamisha Asabov? That Loyam Tovim Chamisha Asabov. So he says very simple. When was the world created? 40 days before Yetziras Havlan, there's a baskel that says Bas Ploini Leploini, Bas Ploini Bayis Ploini Leploini. So what's 40 days before Chofei Elul? Tu B'Av. Chamisha Asabov is 40 days before. So in Mela, 40 days before the creation of the world, so probably the Rabbi Shalom already announced.
So what was Aleph Tishrei? That was Shabbos?
The Aleph is Friday. Aleph is Friday, right. These other Marisha. But the Bnei Yisrael, but Lepoil, the first day of creation is already the has in it everything. There's a Chofei. 40 days before is Chamisha is the Lemela Lo Yom Tovim as a Shaychas Nesuyin, because 40 days before the creation of the world, the Eibush already announced that Adam is going to be for Chava, Chava is going to be for Adam, and Memela it's a Yom Esgula for Shidduchim and for good things. Me'ata v'adolam. A Chabad has the Zolba word with the Bnei Yisrael, but just 5 days later. They say Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the first day of creation, the first day of Avodas Hashem, Avodah Mechava. So if you go back 40 days, when is 40 days?
Rosh Hashanah is Yom Shishi.
Right, no. So B'Meila, if you go back 40 days, it's Chof Av. So Chof Av is when they announce Bas Ploini LaPloini. Just 5 days apart. If you're going back 40 days from Chof El, or you're going back from Rosh Hashanah. But it's a Zobazach. Memela, I'm sorry. So Memela, that's the Nakuda is a Reich Nakuda. And the Rebbe brings that there's a yeshivas in Yerushalayim, base scale. Yeshivas base scale. All yeshiva Mekubalim associated to Rashash. The Rashash from Shalom Sharabi from Tema. It was a big Mekubal. And in this yeshiva, they do a Torah Nedorim. There's an old meaning. They do a Torah Nedorim on Chof Av. Why Chof Av? Because they start Hachonas. Usually Klal Yisrael starts Hachonas for Rosh Hashanah from Rosh Chodesh Elul. But it is brought in certain Svarim to start saying Ksiva v'Chsima Tova from Tu B'Av. And the Rebbe said many times that it's a good minig. Why not? They can't onvinchen Ayida good Zach. Why wait till Rosh Chodesh Elul? You can do it already 15 days earlier.
We have it on a Sunday, on a Tu B'Av.
Or what?
On a Sunday,
Yeah.
Tu B'Av. Somebody passed by.
And then it was Ksiva v'Chsima Tova. But other had the minig to start saying Ksiva v'Chsima Tova on Chof Av. Depends. If you go with the Mahalach of Bnei Yisrael, then you would go from Chamisha Asabov, or if you go with the Chabad Mahalach. Interesting. So there's a Taka minig of Mekubalim that they start Achonas for Rosh Hashanah from Chof Av. And it's Mistaber, because 40 days before Yetziras Havlan is something special. So 40 days before we want to do something to already affect. We want to affect the outcome of what will happen in Rosh Hashanah in a positive way. So maybe even do a small thing. The Rebbe was Matziyah that on Chof Av, you should make a small Achlota Toiva, do some special thing, a special mitzvah, to daven something with a little extra kavana, a kapitel Tehillim. Say something or do something on Chof Av to make a little bit of hachona for Rosh Hashanah. So l'chaim, we should be matzliach in our hachonas. We should feel that we should. The comes in Rosh Chodesh Elul. The Alter Rebbe says is Melech Basoda, but to feel the Melech Basoda, so we start already from Chof Av. The Dave shall help from the hachonas should be good and be matzliach. And every one of us should have B'techechi Klal Yisrael Aksiva v'Chsima Tova and Hashana Tova M'Sukkah.
Amen.
Right away.
parenthetically, the word shtash is yud side is yud shtash.
Yeah, okay. It's a connection. Toiva l'shana toiva v'suka. Hey, nachazim toiva l'shana toiva v'suka. V'suka k'siva v'chazim toiva l'shana toiva. Hey, siva v'chazim toiva. Chaim. No, is that Marivitz? Or not? Yeah, okay, good. So the Iker is, should be a Ksiva Chsima Toiva, should be a Shana Toiva Msuka, and we should tap into the Koyach of Poyol Yeshua Be'akerev Ha'oretz on Chof, and we should have Taka, we should see, we daven noch every day to the Bonne Shalom Betzach, by the Meibishten, that the same B'libeinu Bino, Lahovin, or Lahaskil, Lishmoya, Lilmoid, or Lalamed, Taka, we should be Zoiche. Eibusha should open up our brains and open up our hearts. We should Taka be able to learn, and we should Taka be able to teach, and we should have a Geshmak, and it should be infectious. It should go from us to other Yidden. And Taka, we should be Zoiche, Loi Nevish, like the Alter Rebbe says in so many Amorim, that the Busha, that's Nolam Abba Zachmoredik. You see that every moment in this world is so precious that we squander the time. So we shouldn't squander it. We should Taka use every moment. Kedaboy, we should accomplish what we need to accomplish. We should fulfill the tachlis of why our neshama is here in this world, and we should do it Taka metoch harchov. This week was a moedik the chitas, the chumash on Monday. The chumash on Monday is we spoke about this on Sunday in the Shir, that the Rebbe once spoke about this. One of the big moina mitzvahs is Reb Moshe Mikutzi. He wrote the Sefer Mitzvahs Godel, and he writes all the mitzvahs and all the details in the mitzvahs. Now, me and you don't learn usually Sefer Mitzvahs Godel, but if you learn the Beis Yosef, for example, he always quotes the Smag. It's one of the big poskim, the Rish, the Rosh, the Rambam, Sefer Mitzvahs Godel, Sefer Mitzvahs Cotton. These are from the big poskim that he quotes in every single sim and every single halacha. In Simon Samach Dalad, he writes that after he finished the Sefer Mitzvahs Leute Samach Dalad, he said he had a dream, and they said Shachachta Seika. V'rom levavcha v'shachachta Hashem alakecha. How can you forget the Iker? How can you forget the Iker? Vayid has gaiva. So the Rebbe asks. And he says, I didn't write him. The Rambam doesn't count it as a mitzvah. So the Rebbe says, why Taka doesn't the Rambam count it as a mitzvah? So the Rebbe says, because every Yid, when he does an Aveda, it's still B'chol Tzorosim Lo Tzor. The Eibush is with the Yid. But when the Yid has Gaiva, Ein Anivu Hu Yecholim Lo B'Mokem Echitz. It's like Avodah Zorah. The Rambam already counted Avodah Zorah. But the Moshe Mekutz does count it as a mitzvah, a special mitzvah. It counts it as a special mitzvah. Mitzvah Lo Tzor Samach Dalad. So we spoke about this. There's a beautiful Mamloyas. The Mamloya says that the Pasuk says a whole long thing. The pen toichel b'savot, ubonim tivne v'yashafta, v'ke bokur v'tzon yirbelach, v'kesavas of yirbelach, v'chol ha'shelecha yirbe, v'rom lavocha v'shachachtas alkecha. So you should remember, and Yosef Amarti koiche v'oitzim yodi osle zachar lazeh. So say, no. Ki hu anoisel l'chakoyach l'asachayel. So the Mamloy is asked, why do I have to say such a long thing? Mamloy says, because a person that has a few extra dollars, not such a big balgai. If a person learns the Gemara HaMafkid, he knows how to run a business. Gemara HaMafkid says, so he should have shlish bekarken. Shlish benechosim, shnish b'momen. Just in case a good deal comes his way and all his assets are tied up, he should have a shlish in liquid. So this person, the apostle described that pen toicha v'savot bon tivne v'yashofta, that's shlish in real estate. Bokevetzen chir b'moed, that yerbun, that's shlish b'mischa. The kesef of yer balacha, that shlish b'momen. Oh, such a person is verom levovcha, it'll be a big balgaiva. So we say no. That you shouldn't chas v'shom think that koyach be'otzem yodi osel l'sachayel zeh ki hu anoisel koyach l'asachayel. So I was thinking about this. How can you do this mitzvah lo yitaseh samach dalet? If you have a couple of dollars in the bank, it's nicht genug. You have to have shlish bekarka, shlish benachos, shlish b'momen. And then you could be mekayim the mitzvah to not say koychi ve'otzim yodi osel l'sachayel zeh. Otherwise, you can't do the mitzvah. So l'chaim, everyone sitting at this table should be able to be mekayim the mitzvah behidur otzim.
Amen.
Behidur otzim, we should be mekayim this mitzvah. So the Eibusha should give everyone that's sitting here miyodam le'apsucha gedosha v'archove shlish bekarka, shlish b'nachosim, and shlish b'momen, and b'meila then we'll be able to be mekayim the mitzvah to know ki hu anois l'chakoyach l'asas choyel. L'chaim. Toma lecho nafshi yayikoma lecho b'sori yetzitziyo yoyim libayim showed me in one of the magazines lately that they said, one of the singers said the most popular chas and alebedik song is the Tzemach Tzedek's Niggun. And the Rebbe Levi Yitzchak is a chaynik from Tzemach Tzedek. They did not so much. It's not a Chabad singer made it very popular. They tried once. Baruch atah.